And now the invocation by Father Leo Conley.
Let us pray. Lord, as we gather here this afternoon, we do so to honor the past, to remember our brother John Nance, who made the ultimate sacrifice, and to honor and remember all of those who have worked out of Station 2 in the past. We gather also to rejoice in the present as we celebrate the inauguration into service of this building, and we gather to look forward to the future, to many whose safety and security, property, and most especially lives will be indeed saved through the ministry of those who work in this station. Send your presence and spirit upon this gathering so that the words that are shared and the experiences remembered will indeed call us to a renewed sense of duty and dedication, no matter what our state in life might be. We ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Welcome. I'm Assistant Chief Richard Ballard with the Division of Fire. I oversee the Division Support Services Bureau. We welcome you all today to the ceremony. At this time, I'd like to introduce the dignitaries that are present today. Mayor Andrew Ginther, City Attorney Richard Pfeiffer, Council President Zachary Kline, Council President Pro Tem Priscilla Tyson, Council Safety Chair Mitchell J. Brown, Council Member Shannon Harden, Council Member Michael Stenziano, Public Safety Director Dr. Ned Pettis Jr., Deputy Director Kate Pishotti, Deputy Director George Speaks, Assistant Director Kathy Collins, Fire Chief Kevin O'Connor, Assistant Chief James Kennel, Assistant Chief James Davis, Assistant Chief Dave Walton, Assistant Chief Dave Whiting, Medical Director Dr. Kessig, members of the Nance family, and active and retired members who are in the audience. Thank you for coming. At this time, I will bring up Mayor Ginther to speak.
What a great day here in the city of Columbus. Thanks to all of you for joining us on this special, special day. I see so many friends in the audience, and I acknowledge and want to thank Chief O'Connor and the Division of Fire, our Director, Ned Pettis, and all of the members of Columbus City Council. Mayors can propose whatever they want, but unless council appropriates, nothing happens. And so I'm grateful for their partnership and support, and it's a special honor to have the Nance family with us today. It's a great honor for our city and our Division of Fire to put the Nance name on this station. The city is in a time of unprecedented growth with record low unemployment and a booming housing market. Our Division of Fire has seen growth too in calls for service. Since 1996, the demand for service has grown 115%, from 62,000 calls a year to 133,000. Investing in our growing city's public safety forces is one of my and Council's top priorities, including new investments in fire stations. Station 2 was once the busiest stations in the nation. February 2016, we broke ground on this new station to help better serve our residents. Today, we are unveiling the new Station 2, which will also include an additional medic vehicle and staffing. There's so many great firefighters, both current and retired, that are here today. I see great people like Captain Greg Lash, who has forgotten more about firefighting and EMS than I will ever know. But great leaders that have given so much to our city and made our city safer and stronger because of it. They deserve 21st century facilities and resources to make sure they can serve the public, but also go home safely to their families. I'm especially proud that we are naming this station after firefighter John Nance, who made the ultimate sacrifice for the people of Columbus while battling a fire at the Midhoff building on High Street. Nance is a reminder of the risks our public safety forces take every day, answering any particular call for service, and a reminder of our gratitude to them and to their families, because we know that firefighters don't just serve, their families serve as well, with the sacrifices they make so that we are safer. It is now my pleasure to introduce our great partner in this work. Please welcome City Council President Zack Kline.
Good afternoon. How y'all doing? What a beautiful day to be in the city of Columbus, in a station that is rich in history. The busiest station in the nation, which is now the nicest station in the nation. I think we could say that safely in the great work that all the engineers, the Department of Finance, all the construction groups did to make this such a wonderful facility for the city of Columbus. I know that my colleagues have already been recognized, but I do want to introduce them again because they're my friends, they're my colleagues. We work together so closely with Mayor Ginther and his administration. It's Councilmember Shannon Hardin, Councilmember Michael Stenziano, President Pro Tem Priscilla Tyson, and Councilmember Mitch Brown, who you'll hear from after me. I know behind us that we have the recruits of the 105th class. I think they just started this week. Is that right, Chief? They just started this week. I saw a couple of them in the back trying to figure out which bunks they're going to have when they draw the lotteries to come to Station 2, because who would not want to be at this station? I know that John Capretta is in the back with Local 67. Love those guys and the great men and women of fire and everything that you do every day to keep us safe. Well, if you're a retired firefighter, will you raise your hand or please stand up? I just want to honor you and the great work and the service that you've given to the city of Columbus. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. I'm confident that under Council's leadership and Mayor Ginther's leadership, this is going to be the first of many new and renovated stations in the city of Columbus, because firefighters deserve it, their families deserve it, and the people of the city of Columbus deserve it. So we look forward to working with you and making sure those come to fruition for all the people of the city of Columbus. And now it's my honor to bring up my friend and a mentor on all public safety issues, someone who happens to know a little bit about the Division of Fire and the Department of Public Safety, and that's my friend, Councilmember Mitch Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to have everyone here in this new, brand new fire station 2. To the Nance family, I express my gratitude, and that name will be here forever for everyone to know the sacrifices that were made on behalf of your family. On May 24th, the U.S. Census released data that showed Columbus has surpassed Indianapolis to become the 14th largest city in America, with more than over 860,000 residents. Columbus has become the epicenter of growth and progress in the Midwest. However, this growth has been accomplished and accompanied by new and welcoming challenges for the Division of Fire. How to continue to provide quick and efficient EMS and fire services to a growing number of residents and special events. Opening in 1962, Fire Station 2 quickly became one of the busiest fire stations in America. And reopening the division today expects Station 2 to continue to be one of the busiest fire stations in America. With more than 10,000 residents in downtown, German Village, and Marion Village, it is vital that resources are effectively deployed to serve these communities. The Department of Public Safety has executed an exceptional plan to maintain services, replace outdated Station 2, and ultimately respond to the needs of an expanding community. Temporarily merging Stations 2 and 3 during construction allowed this project to be completed without negatively impacting the response times. Now that both stations are online, it will mean additional resources for the division and improve services to our community. I would like to thank Mayor Ginther and the Department of Finance and Management for supporting the men and women of the Columbus Division of Fire and the vital work that they perform for the City of Columbus residents 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year. I'd also like to thank Director Pettis, Fire Chief O'Connor, and the entire public safety staff for their commitment to progress and continuing to provide exceptional service to our community. Finally, I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Louie. Steve, where are you? I know you're here. Put your hand up, Steve. Everyone to know he's responsible in great measure for this fire station being accomplished. His leadership, his stewardship, and his guidance in leadership in energy and environmental design, certification for a U.S. Green Building Council. Steve, thank you, not only for this station, but for all the stations you've been associated with, which has been the past 7 in the City of Columbus. I would also like to recognize our neighbors and partners during this process. The United Way of Central Ohio, CME Federal Credit Union, and the Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church for contributing to this investment with capital projects of their own. This project has proven not only to be an investment in our public safety, but truly a reinvestment in the Columbus community. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much.
And now, Public Safety Director, Dr. Ned Pettis, Jr.
Thank you, Chief, and good afternoon, everyone. Mayor Ginther, Council President Kline, Council Member Brown, and members of Council, Chief O'Connor, and other distinguished guests. This is an exciting day. An opening of a new fire station is always cause for celebration. I want to thank Mayor Ginther, members of Council, Finance Director Joe Lombardi, and the Department of Finance and Management, along with the Office of Construction and Management, for financing, budgeting, and overseeing this project to completion. This is a beautiful state-of-the-art fire station that is, again, available to serve a busy section of our community. I say again because I can remember when then Safety Director Mitchell Brown and I moved Station 2 to the top of the list for replacement. I can remember when then Safety Director Brown and I, as the fire chief, rode around downtown looking for a different location to rebuild Station 2 at. I remember when then Safety Director Brown turned down an offer to purchase this property to help finance building it somewhere else. And after I retired, Safety Director Brown decided to tear down the old station and build the new station right here. So let's give Mitchell Brown a round of applause for that decision. The memory of John Nance lives on through this station as a reminder of the dangers that firefighters face and the strides made in improving firefighter safety throughout this country. This station is rich in history. The previous Station 2 at this location was part of the 1960 Market Mohawk Street Urban Renewal Project. Before that, as Bob Heinbaugh reminded me earlier, Station 2 was located at Fulton and Pearl, and an earlier Fire Station 3 that was located at 3rd and Chapel, they both are traceable back to the days of horse-drawn equipment. So as you can see, we've come a long way since then, and technology has allowed us to build a station that is LEED certified, a certification that is recognized across the globe as the premier mark of achievement in green building. This is the third environmentally friendly fire station we have built, and as we work towards reducing our footprint on the community. So I'm grateful to be back and to have an opportunity to be a part of this exciting day. As you tour the facility, do not hesitate to ask questions. And at this time, I believe it's time for Chief O'Connor to come and give comments.
At this time, daughter of John Nance, Suzette Nance, will come up and speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming to this dedication. My name is Suzette Nance, and on behalf of my mother and my brother Doug and Joe, wherever he went, there he is, John's brother. We're grateful for this opportunity to express our gratitude to everyone, to all who love John. Your support has been amazingly unyielding, and we're overwhelmed. We thank the City of Columbus, the Columbus Fire Department, and everyone who lives here for honoring him today, yet again. After 30 years to be remembered so many times, basically speaks to my father's character. Wonderful, wonderful human. And as I stand in front of you, I'm sure all of you have that same character. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. Thanks so much for this great honor. And at this time, I'd happily introduce my uncle, Joseph Nance.
Thank you, Suzette. On behalf of John's family, we would like to thank you for honoring John by naming this new station after him. John Wesley Nance was born on April 7th, 1936 in Portsmouth, Ohio. Unfortunately, our father died in 1938, and our mother had to find work. After a few years, she needed to find even a better paying job, so we moved from Portsmouth to the Milo area in Columbus, where she worked at Timken for many years. Back to John, after graduating from Lyndon McKinley High School, John joined the ranks of the employed and eventually secured a job as a fireman. He worked at several houses before obtaining a position here in this very place. John loved his job at the firehouse. His early assignments included many tasks, but he excelled as a firehouse cook. He made good stuff, guys. It was all good. His early assignments, he took pride in preparing the meals for his colleagues as well as his friends at the firehouse. And he was famous for his many very good meals. In fact, he used to cook some at home for us, and boy, they were good. He had some good recipes, guys. Prior to becoming a fireman, John married his high school sweetheart, Linda Parker. They were young and idealistic. They were grateful for John's job and believed the position at the firehouse was the beginning of a good life for them, and it was. And they were right. He and Linda had 3 children, Steve, Doug, and Suzette. They're right here with us. While working at the firehouse and living in the Columbus area, John's dream, his really real dream, was to have a farm in the country. That's what he always wanted. He was fortunate to find an 82-acre farm near St. Louisville, where he spent many happy days working on the farm and raising his family. John and his family had many wonderful years together. They enjoyed every minute. John was looking forward to retiring in 1988. Unfortunately, that was not to be. In early July 1987, this is July 1987, I called John to ask if he and Linda would like to join me and Janet and take a vacation to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. because in 1986, in August, we had done just that and had a very good time on the shores of Lake Superior. So we had such a good time, we wanted to do it again. But when I spoke to John, and this was in July of 1987, he said, "Joe, we can't make it. I just committed to take a shift or someone for the week that you want us to go." So as fate would have it, I was 1 week. I was 1 week too late to ask you. On behalf of John's family, we want to thank you for bestowing this honor on John. And we especially want to thank the Columbus Fire Department for their part in establishing this honor. We know that many years from now, John's descendants will look at this fire station. 50 years from now, his descendants will be here looking at this, and it's going to have his name on it. And we will be proud of his service to the Columbus Fire Department. But more importantly, we want to thank you for never, ever forgetting John. Thank you.
John Nance's death affected the way we do things here in Columbus. And firefighter Davy Karn, who worked here at Station 2 for how many years? 200 or 300? Okay. He's going to tell you about the training evolutions and the things that they came up with to help prevent something like this from happening again. Davy Karn.
Well, most of you already know I'm not a public speaker, so kind of bear with me a little bit, okay? I want to thank all the retirees that did come. A lot of good faces out there that I haven't seen in a long time. In your program, you'll see that after an article was written about John's death, some of it was sent to different, let's call them higher-ups in the fire service. The shakers and rollers and the doers. Some were the Hoff brothers from Chicago. Others were people from Los Angeles. And John Norman at that time was a lieutenant on Rescue 2 in New York. He got one of the copies. And he took his crew of 6 plus himself up on top of their new rescues that they had, and they had 20 by 20 hatches on top. He had one of his men lay down in the catwalk underneath it, and he said, "All right, now how are we going to get him out of here? And don't even think about the rescue knot." Well, the rescue knot, we had to tie to graduate. It took about, if you knew what you were doing, about 5 minutes. Really wasn't, real good. But out of that, it took about 2 weeks, and John Norman came up with the handcuff knot, the Nance knot, in order to get somebody back in the narrow passage that they were, like when John fell through the floor. It took several years for it to really get going, but in 1996, they had the first train the trainer for firefighter rescue. The guy that brought her here, his name's Rick. And Rick actually was walking down the hall of the TA, and the captain at that time, Michael Foote, hollered out and said, "Hey, Rick, come on in here. I got something you might be interested in." So Rick went on in and had a pamphlet about the new class coming up. And he could see by the names on it that were going to be the instructors that this was something he had to go to. Well, then right then, Captain Foote said, "By the way, they don't have any money." All right. So Rick paid his own way. It was held out at the University of Illinois in Champaign, and for over a week, about a week, they tried every technique they could find in various scenarios to practice, and if it worked, okay, if it didn't, okay. Now, the first day of the class, they all got there the night before. Well, the first day's paperwork and everything, and John Norman at that time then was a captain on Rescue 1. He came up in front of the room, he said, "Hey, where's the guy from Columbus?" Rick was petrified. I mean, this was a guy he idolized, and he didn't know if he had said something wrong at the bar the night before, got somebody upset or what. But they went to the back of the room, and John Norman asked Rick, he said, "We're going to use John Nance's scenario. Is that going to bother you?" And Rick thought for a minute, and he said, "No, John, I don't think that'll happen at all. In fact, knowing John, I think he would want that. John would want it that way." So like I said, they practiced for almost a week, all kinds of things. Some worked, some didn't work. But when it was over with, Rick and John Norman had a great relationship. They still stay friends to this day. Well, Rick came back, and he happened to be here at 2's, and he started teaching the guys on his shift things he had learned. One was how to get somebody back in a narrow passage and get them out of a hole. As he taught more and more people on his shift, some of the folks working trades and coming in to use their locker or whatever, saw what was going on and said, "Hey, Rick, how about showing us that, okay?" So he would either hold over or come in early on the 2 or 3 unit. Well, then word got out, and it progressed where the stations in the south end wanted to do it. And then the stations on the west side wanted to do it. And this was great. But Rick found out after a while he wasn't even on his own truck. He was out teaching all this. So he got somebody else, trained them. And the training that they took, hopefully they'll never have to use. But we didn't know at the time that we would. The techniques we used, or the techniques we learned from Rick, were the same techniques that were used to save Lieutenant Mike Pulaski, Engine 16. Mike basically died in the basement of a working fire in their first in area. Chief O'Connor was a battalion chief. They did a tremendous job, and it was the rescue and a few other folks that used the techniques that Rick had brought back to get Lieutenant Pulaski out of that basement, onto a cot, and they saved him, and he came back to work. He was one of our most beloved officers in the division. So, station's nice. Okay, but when you really stop and think about it, over 200 firefighters have been saved by what John helped get going. Lieutenant Pulaski is one of them. And I kind of think John would want it that way.
Now Fire Chief Kevin O'Connor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is a special day for the Columbus Division of Fire, but more importantly, it's a special day for the neighborhoods of Columbus. The opening of this new Station 2 is the manifestation of Mayor Ginther, City Council, and the Division of Fire's commitment to providing the best and most efficient EMS and fire protection to the growing citizens of Columbus. Through this commitment, we are not only reopening an EMS and fire station right here, but we are expanding service to multiple Columbus neighborhoods. The residents and visitors of downtown and the German Village neighborhoods will see the most visible presence of this expansion by the opening of this beautiful and modern guardian in the form of the John Nance Memorial Fire Station 2. A true beacon of community service, protection, and sacrifice, the women and men of the Division of Fire provide our citizens each and every day. They will also see an expansion in other neighborhoods. Not only is there an addition of Medic 2 at this location, an advanced life support medic, which will provide service and decrease response times in the neighborhoods of the downtown, Brewery District, and German Village, but many of the surrounding neighborhoods, like the Discovery District, Livingston Avenue area, Livingston Park, South Side, Deschler Park, Edgewood Acres, Hungarian Village, Indian Gardens, and more. And you can see how there is a ripple effect of every station on the effect that it can provide, not only where you see it, but where it responds. Additionally, this expansion of service is not only seen in the John Nance Memorial Station 2 in downtown. Through the commitment of our leadership, the opening of this station has also allowed for the reassignment and placement of a brand new Advanced Life Support Medic 823 to Fire Station 23 at Hamilton and Livingston Avenue. Medic 823, which was made possible by the addition of this station, will provide service and decrease response times in the neighborhoods of Eastland, Taylor Station, Eastmore, and Mayfair. In addition to that, the opening also allows for the extension of a ladder company on the Far East Side in the Wagner Road and McNaughton neighborhoods. During the construction of the John Nance Memorial Station 2, the crew of Engine 2 had to be temporarily reassigned. They were reassigned to place a new ladder truck in service at Fire Station 5 at McNaughton and Broad Street, protecting the Mount Carmel East Hospital and neighborhoods. In anticipation of the new opening of our next fire station, which we hope to break ground on at the end of this year, Fire Station 35 on Wagner Road, with Station 2 reopening, the crews of Engine 2 had to return to staff this station. But through these commitments and the financial support of council, the director's office, and the mayor's office, Ladder 5 is permanently in service. That ladder truck went in service as a response to Station 2's opening, another ripple effect. Today's celebration is not only good for the neighborhoods we stand in here today, but for all neighborhoods in Columbus, as you can see. Through the diligent planning and creativity of all members of the Columbus Division of Fire, the financial support of the mayor, city council, the opening of one fire station has led to the expansion of services at 3 stations. Today, we add Ladder 5 to permanent service on the Far East Side of Columbus. We added 2 medic units, both Medic 2 here in downtown, but Medic 823 on the Far East Side. And we've added a brand new fire station to provide better protection to the citizens of Columbus. In just a few minutes, the Division of Fire with the ribbon cutting will officially open the city's newest station in this very familiar location. For the past 54 years, Station 2 and 3 shared this location. Today, Station 2 will return alone and take its place back as one of the busiest stations in the city of Columbus. This new fire station helps us continue our mission by providing timely and effective emergency medical services and fire operations to the citizens and visitors in the downtown area, as well as its surrounding neighborhoods. We have, as you can see, a growing, vibrant, and diverse downtown community. 54 years ago, when this station opened, it was protecting a downtown corridor that involved many businesses. That changed. Today, Station 2 reopens with, as the former director said, over 10,000 residents that have moved into this to make it truly a neighborhood and not just a business community. Today marks the city's and the division's commitment to providing its best possible protection, response, and care to its citizens and visitors on a daily basis. On behalf of the 1,500 plus members of the Columbus Division of Fire, I welcome you to your newest Columbus Fire Station. Thank you.
Before I bring up Father Leo Conley, I would like to thank a handful of people. There's so many people that were involved in the construction of this station. So many decisions that have to be made, problem solved. And one decision that has to be made all the time is colors. And as you tour the station today, you'll notice some things are gray, and other things are gray, and some other stuff is gray. But it's beautiful. I'd like to thank the mayor and city council for their support of public safety, the Office of Construction Management, Steve Louie, Heather Brink, Robertson Construction, DLZ, Doug Moody, architect Jim Kinney, Captain Francisco, and all the guys from Station 2 or 3. This is the second station they've opened, and it's a lot of work. But I thank them. And now, the benediction by Father Leo Conley. This will be followed by the ribbon cutting.
Let us pray. Father, we ask that you send your blessing upon this station number 2 that is dedicated in honor of our brother John Nance. You continue to shower us with blessings. You blessed many people during his service in Columbus Division of Fire, and you bless the people of the present because of what they are able to do at his inspiration. Bless those who occupy and serve out of this station, and bless those that they will serve, so that they will know of their own ability to depend on others for their safety and their security. Bless all of those who have served here in the past, many of whom are gathered here today, for their dedication in service of your people. We are grateful for those who have made this building possible, the gifts and talents that you have given to so many, those involved in planning, designing, construction. And so may your blessing come upon all your people in each and every moment. We ask this in your most holy name, who live and reign forever and ever. Amen.
And now the ribbon cutting will take place right in the front, the center bay door. And that'll conclude today's ceremony, and at that point, you're free to tour the station. Thank you.